Hey everybody, I want to drop a video real quick about understanding the narcissist and pathological lying. Um, in a video before, I told you that there is this paradoxon that when you are an empowered empath, it means you have learned to create boundaries, you know who you are, and you know about narcissistic traits. And then you will start to understand the narcissist, and this will make you feel pity for the narcissist. And this was the reason how the abuse was established. But you will learn that you have to resist your first nature, that when you feel pity with a person, that you try to help them. So there is this paradoxon that you feel, oh, this person needs help, but you can't help them. You need to learn you can't help them because it will lead to your disadvantage. Okay, now to understand this, what I mean, you need to understand that most of the times the circle of narcissistic abuse, of destructive narcissistic behavior, is engaged or enabled by the narcissist picturing him or herself as a victim. So they will picture themselves as a broken child or as things that happened as a result of their past, as a result of being a broken child. And the problem with this is that it is true, but it is not an excuse to abuse other people. So you need to understand. The question is a valid question to ask. Why did it happen to you? Why did you let the abuse happen? And this is victim blaming. So you have been victimized, and the question is, why did it happen, right? And this is why the empath has to become an empowered empath. This is the inner work, the healing that we have to do. Because part of this question is true. You need to work on yourself and not let it happen again. But the narcissist does the same. They say, oh, I did it because it was the best for this person. Or I did it because the person let it happen. They will in some way twist it in a way that it is either the best for you or you deserved it, or in some way, some form of victim blaming. And part of this is true. And this leads to the next problem with narcissists. And that is that everything they are doing is in some way human, but on a pathological level. This is also with emotions. For me personally, this is my personal view, when I see them acting, I perceive it as acting. Anything they do is artificial and superficial and acting. Yet this is the best they can do it. There is no other way they do it. This is, for them, it's authentic. For me, it's not authentic. For me, it's a person playing that thing that they are doing. No matter what it is, really everything. It's acting. Yet they can't do better, which leads to feeling pity for them. And again, it is destructive for a healthy person to be in the presence of a narcissist in itself. So narcissists are abusive by nature, because being around people who are acting and using this acting to be manipulative and take advantage over others, especially when others are feeling pity for them, this is a cycle that is not very healthy, right? And also, as a empathetic person, you are stuck because you are not around um, authentic people that are really invested in a relationship and you could learn anything from, you know. So let me now get to the pathological lying. We might get back to narcissistic traits later. The lying, to understand it, you need to understand that it is a survival strategy and it has become the second nature of the narcissist. And it's not second anymore, it's the first, which means they also can't do better, in my opinion. It has become their first nature. And this does not come from one day to another. Um, it begins in the childhood when parents idealize the child and reject the child, depending on the behavior of the child, which is per definition conditional love. So when the child does not perform according to the narcissistic shared fantasy of the parents, you see the cycle? The parents are narcissistic. The child is trained to be narcissistic through coercion by idealization and rejection, depending on the behavior of the child, which is direct dopamine control and conditional love. So it begins in small steps when the child comes home from school and it tells a story. It will find out that when it adds a little bit to the story that makes the story more appealing to the parent, they will get more love in return. When they are honest, but the honesty is not in alignment with the shared fantasy of the parents, with their delusional picture, the picture that is a lie, then the child gets punished by being rejected. And this leads the child to become inventive. Also, it leads the child, when it gets rejected or idealized too much, to create a false self, which makes the child believe it is God and makes the child self-absorbed. So both idealization and rejection create self-absorption. When you're rejected, you do the self-absorption to not feel the pain of rejection anymore and create a false self that is invulnerable to pain. And when you are idealized, you actually believe you are God and the center of the universe. And thus you are self-absorbed. It means you are locked inside yourself. And outside of you, there is no world or reality. There is objects. Your parents are objects you can use. Everybody, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, everybody is an object you can use. And now try to imagine if you was that self-absorbed that you think you are everything there is and others are just objects within yourself that you can use. Wouldn't then lying be the only way to communicate? Because for you, truth would be that thing that benefits you because you are everything. The only thing that is true is what benefits you. And this way, lying becomes first nature, becomes delusional because it is what the person really believes. And they get very skillful with it because it is like a house they build. It's like a complex structure with only it's complex and subtle. So it's like a house they built, and the house is solid in most places. So when you knock at the surface, at the facade, in most places it will be solid, but there will be some fundamental problems. But normally, especially if somebody is charming and so delusional that the person really believes what they tell, and again, they really believe it, then it's hard to debunk this, because it's really, in a way, that they believe it themselves, and they get very skilled at it. That's all I can say to it, okay? So you only can debunk it when you catch them and you follow your uncanny valley effect of doubt and really hold them very closely accountable for everything they say. You record it, and even then, they will double up on it and not let you reveal it easily, okay? But this is how it is becoming their first nature. It's a long time of training, and the brain, when doing this, of course, gets good at it. The brain gets good at everything it does, right? So this is the way they become what and who they are. And again, if you start to understand it based on the childhood traumas they have, you really feel pity for a person like that. They are also constantly in a fight and flight situation, um, and constantly projecting their own trauma on others, but this is a different story. Uh, Yet, it's a very twisted situation, especially the victim blaming. So, no matter what happened to the narcissist, it's not an excuse that they can treat you in a way that is destructive or abusive for you, and you cannot be around them without being destructively influenced. This is my opinion, because of the projection and because of the problem that you cannot sympathize with them without feeling pity for them. And when you feel pity, they will take advantage over you and even hate you for feeling pity, because they are grandiose gods. And if you pity a grandiose god, bro, it is only destructive and impossible to, as an authentic person, to live with these people, because of the reasons I told you. All right, I just had to drop this to speak it off my chest, to share the message. And I hope I could help somebody to understand his situation, deal with his situation better. Um, Stay blessed, stay authentic, stay in your truth. And now you know what you're dealing with, probably.